This week, several days, I've been out on my prayer trail, and it's just so nice. I become so fond of it. It's just, it's my, it's my sanctuary. It's my cathedral. It's my pavilion. I like those big words. I actually walk out there, and it's in nature, and I say, "Oh God, I love your cathedral." I mean, it's the most magnificent cathedral in the world, better than Sistine Chapel or whatever those big ones are. And I walk out there, and I have a little about a mile long stretch. Actually, it's not quite that; it's a little over a half mile. That is kind of my almost always. I have encounters, some kind of special download. Like this morning, I had one. It's just really, really neat. It helps to establish your heart. And sometimes it's really amazing, like transformational. So, one of them I want to tell you about is I believe I met a new angel this week. Now, it's a little early for me to tell much about it, this angel, because I'm still in the exploratory process. But I just kind of want to unpack how I have come to discover this angel, and we will all have our own ways. Your unique way that you find an angel. And not all my angels have been discovered the same way. One of them I discovered through a dream with the actual name, and it was just, very concrete, very like emphatic. This is the way it is. And so I appreciate that. But most of my discoveries have been incremental, and you walk through life and you lay up one little notable thing on the shelf and another one on the shelf and another one on the shelf, and you look backwards and you say, "Oh my God." In this case, you can say, "Oh my God," legitimately. And you say, "Oh my God, you really have orchestrated a new revelation." So, here's my story. About 15 years ago, our neighbor, who still is our neighbor, but he got off of his meds, and he has some kind of chemical imbalance, and so he got very dysfunctional to the point of aggressive, and even threatened physical and bodily harm. And I would tell him, "Oh, Mike, you said you don't want to say that. I mean, that can really get you in trouble, what you just said." And that would just trigger him, and he'd go off on another rant. So I never really knew what was going to happen, because he'd walk over and knock on our door anywhere from 2 to 3 times to 6 or 8 times a day, wanting to borrow something, from eggs to sugar to milk to take a shower in my bathroom. It's like, just irrational stuff. And if you didn't give it to him, he would just go ballistic. Well, one day I was out on my prayer trail, and during this time, and I just said, "Lord Jesus, you said we could speak to a mountain to be plucked up, carried off, and cast into the sea." I said, "Lord, I know that Mike is a good man. Mike has a precious heart that you love. But there's something disturbing him. That's the mountain. I want to speak to this mountain to be plucked up, carried off, and cast into the sea. So I'm really going after it, right?" And I'm going to give you share a screen right here, because I looked down, and if you guys know me, I don't speak feather, but I definitely understand feather. The language of feather. I know that sounds weird, but us mystics are kind of weird anyway. But I understand when feathers happen at unique times. Well, this is what I saw on the trail right in front of me. I looked down, and I saw that at the moment that I'm fully engaged, just kind of coming out the end of that focus, and I see this yellow feather, and I like, what is a yellow feather from? What kind of bird is that? I really don't think I'd ever found a feather that long and that color. And as you all know, feathers are a very real way that God either affirms to me what he's doing, consoles my heart, gives me authority and confidence to press into the unknown. And so when I saw this, I said to myself, oh, so something just happened in the spirit realm. Something got transpired in that last little prayer initiative. And so I kind of logged that in my heart. Within just 30 minutes, I went home, and within 10 or 15 minutes, another knock on our door. The doorbell rang. I looked out the window, and there's my neighbor, Mike. And I thought, well, I carried my little MP3 recorder in my pocket in those days, and I set it on record because nowadays I want to make sure I have a record of what he's saying, right? Well, I opened the door and he stuck out his hand. He says, Mark, I've been thinking about you. You're not a bad guy. You're a good guy, and I've been calling you all kinds of bad names, and I just felt like I wanted to come over and make it right. I'm sorry for all the stuff I've said. Would you forgive me? Stuck out his hand like, I'm ready for you to say everything's okay. I said, well, yes, I do forgive you. And I shook hands with him. And interesting thing, that has never happened ever before, nor since. But it happened within 45 minutes of me having that little prayer conversation and that feather, seeing that feather. Now, I'm like, well, Lord, what is the significance of that feather? I know it's a language. I know it's one of the ways you speak. But does it mean anything else? So I've just held it. I actually still have the actual feather in my little portfolio thing. And the other day, well, by the way, right after that, I found out that it came from a northern flicker, which is I think it's in the woodpecker family, but it's a northern flicker, and under its wings, it has these long yellow pinions. And so evidently one had lost one, and I thought, okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with northern flickers, but I'll just keep that on the shelf. Well, this last week, I was out walking on my trail, and I looked up, and there's a northern flicker. I thought, Lord, that's pretty interesting. What are you saying to me? And then I happened to be drawn back to that experience 10, 15 years ago. I said, Lord, another thing is birds are another language. I don't speak bird, but I understand bird. Birds help to open up spiritual understanding for me and help to connect me with a spiritual truth or insight. And so I said, Lord, I've had angels be representative of, I've had birds be representative of angels. Bluebirds, cardinals, gold canaries, yellow canaries, or not canaries, but goldfinch, sorry, and several other birds, and they all have a very specific meaning, and they've all come to me in different ways, but enough that I'm very confident that when I see those or read the names of one, it's like the Lord just like, hello, Mark, have I got your attention? And of course, nowadays it's, yes, Lord, that's easy peasy. So I saw this northern flicker, and I said, Lord, I remember that feather and my neighbor. Do I have an angel that is a warrior angel that fights for me just like that happened back 15 years ago? Was there a warrior angel that went to battle and subdued a giant in my neighbor Mike in his mind and heart, and then made him come back to his right mind? Lord, do I have an angel? And what would his name be? Well, the next couple days later, I'm out there, and now I don't just see one. As I'm walking down this trail, literally from at least 6 to maybe 8 or 10 northern flickers, they just keep crisscrossing across my path in the trees along ahead of me. Oh, it gave me goosebumps then, and it's giving me goosebumps right now that we have a warrior pack, a team of warriors in battle array with me, coming alongside me to fight for me and do battle for me to bring me into victory. And so I said, well, Lord, what would their name be? Well, I want to be able to call them by name if that's possible. Well, that very night, which was Thursday night, I was in a prayer meeting in Olathe. And Noel Alexander, who's the leader of this prayer meeting, he was reading a passage out of Psalms 83. And I don't know, somewhere down around 15 or 18 or 19 verse there, it says, "And the Lord releases his tempest and his storm to do his battle and to set things in order." And I said, "Lord," and as soon as he started reading, I said, "Lord, I have a feeling I'm going to learn the name of my angel in this chapter." Didn't know what was in that chapter. He just kind of quickened it to mind. You're going to hear something's going to be the name of your angel. Going down through that passage, and then along came this verse. It says, "And you release your storm." I said, I think what these angels are, these warrior angels, they're storm troopers. That just gave me a happy feeling all over. It just made me delighted to think that God just helps to surround us with, first of all, give us understanding to understand what is surrounding us in the heavenly realm. And so now, folks, I'm going to be looking into and leaning into my stormtroopers to do battle for me. How about that? That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.